Late night in the pod lab. Y'all know what it is. We get straight to it. Y'all see what it is. Um, very grateful to be here with y'all tonight. We about to get straight into it. This is How to Live in the Vision Part 2. I touched on a little bit of living within the vision in one of my self-science classes prior to this one, but I wanted to go more in depth within living inside of the vision. This is very important for us to understand that how important it is to live in what I like to call the end result. That's why it's important to have goals and to set tasks for yourself and to seek out a future perspective of who you want to be in longevity. I know it's hard now because of the world and how it's shifting for us to look longevity sometimes because it looks hopeless. But we have to get past this hopelessness and understand the power within, and within everything is within, and what we project out of what we have inside of us is going to determine our reality on this 3D level of existence. Now, to simplify that even more, what you auto suggest to yourself within will be impressed on your subconscious mind, and that will be played out into what you see into your sensory form of senses of self. What you see, what you feel, how you think, how you move, your behaviors, your values, your principles. All this is determined by the I am, and living in the end result of your vision, living in the end. So when you're living inside of the vision, you're living as if you already have became one with the vision that you have for yourself, that you've been working towards by way of the goals and the dream and the signs and the sole purpose that you found for yourself. So this is by these things you have created a vision that you've been striving to clarify along your path. So within you trying to clarify the vision and become one with it, you're living within that vision. You're living within that vision based off of what you're telling yourself in your inner dialogue on a daily basis, trying to accomplish seeing that vision clearly. Now, I would just like to say I'm grateful that I even have a vision and a goal. I'm grateful that I even have found a purpose, and I'm striving to become one with my vision. That's a part of the process, and falling in love with the process as you go and enjoying it and not getting frustrated. And this is what it goes back to what we're about to cover in these key points and living within the vision. Follow me. Let's go to the chart. So right here, living in the vision part 2. I want to go over some key points with y'all on this so we can hit this head on. See right here on the map right here, we got a visionary map, living within the vision, behaviors, tactics, and mental transformation, developing the self-image. Be grateful you have a vision, embodying your calling, embrace your unapologetic self. I'm grateful to have a self-image. I'm grateful to have a vision, and I'm grateful to be able to mold my self-image. Well, what do we mean by self-image? Okay, what is your concept of yourself? The concept of yourself comes from a way of, well, first we got to say that imagery is power. So the self image that you have in yourself depends on the concept, your self concept. You can constantly tell yourself that you are not gonna accomplish this, or you're not the I am. Or you can constantly tell yourself that I am the power. I am the energy. I am the goal. I am the transformation into this better version in the mental image and teacher, um, mediator, mentor, educator, business owner, entrepreneur. I am this and I will become this. Goddard said, he said there, you cannot be without doing. If you do not do, you cannot be. You have to be before you do. You have to become in your mind and in your subconscious mind before you can even do anything. You have to be. We're living in the end result of who we see ourselves in our mental image of visualization. So, what are some self concepts about yourself? And you'll find when you ask yourself these questions, if you find that you're having a hard time finding answers, this is where the self discovery comes in with developing your self image. Your self image is very important moving forward because you can constantly create new concepts for yourself. You can constantly grow and self evolve. That's where you find the beauty in all of this. The self evolution is where self evolution is where you find the success in your failures, because you're moving forward and you're failing, but you're failing forward because you're learning lessons, you're understanding yourself more, you're understanding what works for you, and you're understanding what doesn't work for you. So developing your self image is very important when we're dealing on the inward path. Now we know imagery is power, so you can use imagery in ways of manipulation. We don't want to manipulate ourselves and lie to ourselves about who we are, but we can create concepts and pay attention to the signs that are shown to us by way of our subconscious mind being connected to the superconscious, and say, okay, this is pointing me in the direction of the image that I have for myself. I knew I had this feeling and this concept of myself to be more attentive. I knew I had this feeling and this concept of myself to write more. I knew I had this feeling and this concept of myself to suggest that I go out and be more social because I wanted to get my consulting and networking business off the ground. These are all examples of developing your self image by way of how you feel like you're being guided in the signs and the communication through your intuition of where you need to go and following and becoming one with your purpose. This is how you live in the end. You have to be before you do. You have to become this thing. You have to become the concepts that you're impression on your subconscious mind and that you're saying to yourself inside through affirmations or incantations or whatever the case may be, the auto suggestions that you're saying to yourself inside on your inner communication. You have to make sure there's no inner resistance there, and you're embracing the concepts that you're setting for yourself to live in the end result of the image that you're trying to create for yourself, that you will create for yourself. Because this mental image and self image that you have to come into, you have to become this image before you can get to any next stages in your life. You have to find different self concepts to be able to develop into this person that you're supposed to be. That this influencer, this public figure, this writer. It's all in your divine will. Your spiritual superior self is locked inside of your self image. So when we're living inside of the vision, we have to remember that it's okay to rebrand. It's okay to redirect. It's okay to suggest new things to yourself as long as you know you believe that it's aligned with your soul purpose. When you start becoming and you be before you can do, you have to be. And when you're becoming, you start understanding that, okay, I have to change and transform into this individual that I never seen coming, but I trust my intuition in the process because I know that I see this image. I have it envisioned in my mind, and my visualization is clearer because I'm staying on track and on task with the development that I'm doing, and I'm monitoring my inner conversations with myself moving forward. So I know my self image is changing in divinely into the way that I need to be to become who I need to become. Right here, we got consistently thinking as a producer. Okay, innovative thinking is your solemn thinking of new ways to service others. This is important. This is important right here. So we have divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is finding innovative ways to solve problems, not going about it in a way of how everybody else thinks, thinking outside of the box to be able to come up with solutions. Now, being a producer causes for you to be inventive. So when you're living inside of your vision, you have to be prepared to be a developer, an inventor, and you have to be prepared to be able to produce for yourself in ways that you might have never done before. It's going to pull out different attributes within yourself that you have never had to exercise before. And this is where it gets very interesting with ourselves, because we start seeing different sides of ourselves that we never seen before, and it can leave a good or bad impression on our subconscious mind. Constantly thinking as a producer, it gives you a sign that you're supposed to be a producer, and you have to be before you do. It's like we was talking about before. You have to be before you do. So you coming into constantly thinking about ways to solve problems, constantly thinking about ways to be a producer, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's an educator, whether it's in the medical field, whatever it may be, the mental transformation, you'll start seeing your thought patterns change into you coming into being and thinking like a producer, and wanting to provide a service, wanting to provide a guide, wanting to provide different tactics to help people in certain type of ways, because we are the best version of ourselves when we're servicing and helping others and uplifting humanity. So the constantly thinking as a producer is going to come along with the self-image that we was talking about prior, and the self-concept that you're redeveloping for yourself. Okay, let's go down here to impressing the subconscious mind. Proving to yourself you have or will develop the willpower to make the vision clear. The subconscious mind is infinite. The subconscious mind doesn't know what's literal and what's not literal. So you have to watch and monitor what you say, and on the inside and on the outside. So on your inner dialogue, you have to learn how to let thoughts release and go. The negative thoughts, let them go, let them release. The mental chatter is going to come. But what we hold on to is the auto suggestions that align up with us thinking as a producer. It's going to align up with us recreating our self image to become that end result that we have inside of our visualization and inside of our heart and inside of our subconscious mind, that's trying to make it become clearer as we project out new ways of thoughts into this 3D world of existence. For instance, if you notice that you have a negative reactivity to people's egos, or you have a negative reactivity to people discrediting you or devaluing you in some type of way, this means that if you're not able to check your reactivity and your reactions to people that are attacking you, or that you feel like that are attacking you, it might be a problem with egotism. Because if you're living, it might be a problem with emotional balance. Because if we're living in the end result of who we know we're gonna be, we're fully confident that we will become one with the vision, and we know that anything that's happening inside of this process is just a contribution to us connecting with that vision. The vision is ours, is God given. Nobody else knows. So there's no reason for us to get upset when somebody can't see, or they lose sight and begin to try to discredit you and try to devalue you in a way of emotional unbalance or emotional distress. People get in their feelings and they might say things to you that they don't mean. It's just because they're hurt. You have to be able to have the insight and the enlightenment to be able to say, hey, you know what? It's okay if you don't respect me. I respect me. And the I am. Just like Jesus was in the Bible. I am. That's a powerful thing to understand and impress on your subconscious, to be able to say, I am. Your subconscious is what brings back the information from the divine source. Your subconscious is the precognitive feelings and visions that you have for yourself moving forward while you're living within the vision. Your subconscious is going to be your greatest tool, and is going to be doing the work, the unseen work, making all this happen. Now, we have to understand, talking more about the subconscious mind, talking more about the subconscious mind, it even gets more deeper when we're talking about, we're talking about, I was talking about extrasensory perception with Jose Silva when he was teaching his kids how to basically read minds and use instinctive and intuitive abilities to be able to learn faster, to be able to see things before they happen. And in the Bible with Joseph and Daniel, where they were able to get information by way of dreams through from God, the super consciousness, and be able to see things before they happen, and then eventually develop the skill by way of the superconscious mind to be able to interpret other people's dreams to tell them what's going to happen in the future. So your subconscious mind is going to play a big role with you living inside of your vision, because your subconscious mind is going to confirm a lot of things along the way. On top of it's your superpower, and it's your gateway door to your supernaturalism. A lot of people don't believe in the healing power and the divine connection of your subconscious mind. And the more I'm learning more about the subconscious mind, the more I'm starting to see is when we go into that dream world and that dream state, it's really not even a dream. This is really what's real. And what we're seeing now is really fake. This is not as real as when we go into that dream state and when our subconscious mind is traveling and bringing back all this information and giving us signs and symbols, but we can't even consciously remember it because the database of our subconscious mind is so vast and infinite. We get glimpses of it, or we can master the lucid and the precognitive feelings and visions that we get in dreams and use them in our 3D reality to make it easier for us in understanding the signs and the doors that our subconscious mind has actually opened up for us. Now, if we learn how to properly understand how the subconscious mind works and properly understand how we can tap into the power of the subconscious mind, of the subjective mind, can lead us down the pathway of becoming one with the vision. But how does the subconscious mind communicate back with us? How does God communicate back with us? We communicate with God through prayer, meditation. Through meditation, we reach a higher consciousness. It's a psychotherapeutic process, and it's scientific and spiritual. It's like prayer. So we pray and we telephone God, and then our intuition is Him telephoning us back, giving us direction to get better self concepts, giving us direction through precognitive visions and feelings, giving us direction in our purpose, giving us direction in living in the end of our vision, living in the end of our mental image of ourselves, of who we have to become one with that vision. So, like I was saying before in my blog, you have to have a conversation with yourself 5 years from now. What would you say to yourself? Because right now, as you can see, I'm demonstrating right now on how imagery is power. Right now, I'm creating a mental image for myself that I see in the future, right, right now. So right now, I'm in a presentation way. Pardon me, y'all. In a presentation way of how I visualize myself speaking to those on a surface level, sharing what it is that I'm finding out about my self discovery journey and about my philosophies when it comes to self development and mental, spiritual, and physical alchemy. So right now I'm creating an image for y'all to be intrigued by. But in all actuality, this is just a marketing tactic that I see for myself in the future that I'm using now for my self concept of myself and the visualization that I've had for myself for years now by way of my subconscious mind. So my subconscious mind tells me to do things, leads me to do things, and I follow it and I don't question it. It also comes with being able to utilize the self-disciplinary tactics as a skill that I talk about in my book, A Step by Step Guide to Improving Self-Discipline. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to the chart. Let's go back to the chart. All right, let's go back to the chart right here. We're going to go down to the self-disciplinary supplement. Okay, the MAM tactic, managing accurate moderation. Sometimes cold turkey will stress you out. Now, managing accurate moderation. When we are doing the things that we need to do to get and become one with the vision, we're going to have to use some self disciplinary tactics. We're going to have to make some sacrifices, and we're going to become somebody that we never knew of before, right? So yourself, I have this tactic called the MAM tactic. Is monitoring accurate moderation. So what this means is you find a good cycle for yourself. We all go through cycles in life. It's not to put, you don't have to go cold turkey on everything that you need to sacrifice and cut out, but you have to identify with what needs to be sacrificed and cut out. So, what I mean by that, set small tasks for yourself, accomplish those tasks, monitor the productivity, and then increase those tasks as you go. What's that gonna do? What's that's gonna do is what we were just talking about with the subconscious mind in the third key point. It's gonna impress your subconscious mind and give you confidence with moving forward in the future. So not only is the MAM tactic gonna set you up for success, but it's also going to show you that how you can have small tasks and start off with small tasks to lead up to the bigger goal. And within that process, you can gain a whole lot of confidence just by setting small tasks for yourself to lead up to you getting to that big goal or that big sacrifice that you're trying to make, instead of creating an unrealistic way of getting to your goal and losing confidence by maybe falling short because you didn't set small tasks for yourself. The self-disciplinary supplement of the MAM tactic will help you identify with being able to understand how you want to moderate, when you want to moderate, based on what's going on in your life, based on how you can trust yourself in the process moving forward, and based on how strong your subconscious mind is at the time. Not to mention willpower. If you're having struggles with willpower, if you're having struggles with restraint, and a lot of that comes with if you're having problems, if you have problems with focusing for long periods of time and a lot of inner resistance, and if you have trouble with focusing during meditation, then the MAM tactic is for you. Just monitor an accurate way of moderation to where you can improve those things. Okay, for instance, if you're having trouble with meditation, and you really want to you just want to start meditating. Or I know I just need to start meditating. This is what I need to do, so I'm gonna just go at it. But every time you go at it, the mental chatter is keeping you from meditating the way that you know that you should. You focus, you thinking about things, you can't concentrate, you can't get into a good flow with your meditation. So what this is telling you is that you need to implement the MAM tactic. You need to say, okay, when I go into in meditation, I need to have something envisioned in my mind, whether it's gratitude, whether it's being thankful, whether it's going over my day and it's just my day, finding something that I could focus on for 30, 40, 50 seconds, maybe to a minute in each topic or each intentional thought that I want to come into my meditation with. I keep my mind on that. I key in on that, and I state, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful because it keeps the conscious mind busy while letting the subconscious mind go to work. So that's a tactic that you can use during meditation, and also it's a tactic that you can use when you're going out and throughout your day. Keep the conscious mind busy. This is why we come up with some of the best ideas while we're at work, because we're robotically moving around at work, doing what we usually do. And while we're doing that, our subconscious mind is able to go to work because when we're utilizing our senses. We're utilizing our senses more than we are our divine calling of our subjective mind. So your subjective mind has time to work, so it's pulling in all the information, it's gathering all the data on autopilot. On autopilot, it's collecting all of this. So the MAM tactic is going to help you identify with is going to help you identify with what you need to moderate, not putting so much pressure on yourself with going cold turkey. Don't get me wrong, some of y'all have the willpower to do this and go cold turkey. So I'm not discouraging them for the ones that are willing and ready to make the sacrifice. But you have to be realistic in the self concept that you're setting for yourself. You have to be realistic in the tasks and the goals that you're setting for yourself moving forward because you want to be real careful with how you're imprinting things on your subconscious mind. Okay, because if you come up short and you fail and you don't and you get discouraged, you don't want that locked into your subconscious mind to the point where you go back down in a way where you don't even want to try anymore and your self-confidence is back low and you got to start from square one based off a mistake that you made in your moderation strategy. So your moderation strategy has to be on point. It's just like if you want to stop eating meat and go to a plant-based diet. Now, in reality, it sounds nice, but you haven't cleaned up your microbiome in your gut flora. So the parasites and the bad bacteria is still there. So for you to just go cold turkey wouldn't be a good idea anyway, because you first have to cleanse and detox so you can get your gut flora right, so you won't be going through these crazy cravings, headaches, and all this other type of stuff trying to go cold turkey, and then it's gonna put you in a way of brain fog, and you won't have the mental clarity to even understand what it is that you need to eat moving forward and making the transition. This is why the MAM tactic is very important. Monitoring accurate moderation. It's going to be very important moving forward. Let's go back to the chart. Let's go back to the chart. Where we at with it? Okay. Meditative action. I would like to say too, I've been doing a good job with staying in a meditative state. The meditative state is my safe place lately. I've been able to go into a meditative state, monitor my reactivity, go on mental diets, understanding that if I'm going to walk this path, if I'm going to walk this path, I have to understand that healing comes in uh, the forms, many different forms. And when you commit to healing, it's a never ending journey. So why not embrace it on a full scale of the mental, physical, and spiritual and quantum level, and understanding how quantum jumping and going into the fifth dimension of the mind and the Christ consciousness is all there for the taking. It's all about how you want to control your mind. It's all about how you want to ease your transmitters and use personal development, which is alchemy. The origin of that would be alchemy, and going into the herbal therapy and herbal medicine, which would be which would be the physical alchemy, and going into treating your temple as the I am, treating your temple as the real self, seeing yourself as the how you want to see yourself in operation and your self image moving forward in the future. With meditation, you can visualize, you can create a visualization and spiritual visualization. You can visualize yourself on how you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Lock in on that, lock that into your subconscious mind, and now you're really living inside of your vision. changing your behaviors, using your tactics, and then going through the thought pattern change and the mindset shift. Your whole mental metaphoric state, metamorphic stage will be displayed into your reality. A lot of people are living in an augmented reality, a false reality, or a reality that they were creating for themselves that's based off embracing ignorance. So when you start breaking away from that, you start seeing the light within self, staying in that meditative state of calmness, serenity, and tranquility, and understanding that you're trying to reach the Christ consciousness because all comes from within. If we can master within, everything is mastered without. Your outer world is now being filled with abundance. It's being filled with attracting the people that you need to attract and making the connection that you need to make the connect to make that entrepreneur connection, to make that networking connection, to get that speaking engagement, to write that book, to get into a good authentic flow, and to get that emotional IQ to capitalize off your IQ. You have to understand this is not the self image. The self image is not a fantasy world of the entertainment world where you're creating an image to manipulate people into believing a fantasy. The self image is come from the validation from within. Only validation that should even be important to us should come from within. Validation comes from within. But we're living in a world now that we're looking for validation from places that will never properly get them. We'll never properly get the validation that we need individually if we're not getting it from within. Nobody validates you but you. Meditative action puts you in a place of that. The psychotherapeutic benefits that you get from meditation will keep you in a meditative state, to keep you calm, and to keep you in a higher consciousness. It'll ease your root chakra. It'll ease your sexual urges. Keep your mind clear and focused on mastering the alchemy of focus. It'll cause your pineal gland to produce more cells and help you decalcify your pineal gland and stimulate your third eye chakra, the energy around your pineal. So your meditative action is it's gonna connect you with the divine source too. It's gonna connect you with the power, with the spiritual power that you need, and it's gonna help you improve your concentration during prayer. Any spiritual practice that you partake in, a meditative action and practice will help you concentrate and see yourself actually connecting and making that quantum entanglement with the divine source, with the Almighty. You have to understand it's in the infinite imagination. If you can imagine it, it can be done. That is the imagination is the higher power. The imagination was what brought all of this into existence. So you have to understand what you want to do with your existence, how you want to put the self concepts on yourself to be able to prove to yourself and say to yourself and imprint it on your subconscious mind like, hey, look, this is who I am. I am. I am strong. I am empowered. I am an entrepreneur. I am a problem solver. I am a metaphysicist. I am going to master quantum physics. I am going to enter the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is within the mind. Within the mind, we get to the fifth dimension. And once we get to the fifth dimension, from there, we can start understanding reality from a whole different perspective and understanding that really none of this is really real. It's just an experience that we're experiencing inside of a vessel, but there's something inside of us that is so eternal, that is so powerful. It makes you you and it makes me me. It gives us certain personalities and attributes. It gives us the power to travel and get precognitive feelings and make connections with entities and spirit guides and God from all at the ends of the universe. It's something inside of us that will last forever. It's everlasting. So in order to get in touch with these things, we first must have to deal with the temple and cleaning up the temple, so you can clarify and decalcify the third eye, the decalcify the pineal gland, Get your neurotransmitters working, get your thought patterns working differently to get yourself outside of this programming and outside of this matrix to where their whole plan is to get you to not think, to do the opposite of thinking. And we're trying to be divergent thinkers. We're trying to come up with new innovative ways and innovative ways and inventive ways to solve problems, to uplift humanity, to be true human beings and to be human beings and not just human bodies. So what we're living inside of the vision, you're the best version of yourself if you have your visualization correct. You have to have your visualization correct. And I suggest and I hope that these key points will help you with living inside of the vision. Don't be discouraged if you don't have a vision right now. You're actually in a very good position, just like if you didn't have credit. If you didn't have credit, if you they say if you don't have no credit is dope credit. You're in a position to build it, you're in a position to find it, and you're in a position to enjoy the journey while you're doing so. And that's what it's all about. You enjoy and embrace the journey and love the journey and detach from egotism, let that go, be the best student, understanding life from a different perspective, from a different lens, and understanding the laws of the universe and put them to the test, becoming a universal lawyer. Oh man, living within the vision is so fulfilling. It's fulfilling to the point where some days you'll start realizing how much monetary gain has no value on you actually finding purpose, something that you're driven by in the morning that makes you get up and want to be able to provide for your family, that brings you internal happiness. This is how you know you're in your soul purpose. This is how you know that you're going towards your definite chief aim. Let me get before we get out of here. I'm glad y'all was with me tonight in the late night in the pod lab, man. And we're going, what I'm saying, this is living in the vision, what I'm saying, part two. Uh, I'm glad y'all with me on this. So a confirmation for me by way of my subconscious mind working behind the scenes without me knowing anything. And that's another thing we got to understand. We're not going to be able to see and recognize everything that's happening when it comes to our path and our process. And we're kind of trying to become one with the vision. We're not going to see everything where I'm at. We're not going to see everything. We're not going to know how everything is going to happen. So when I did a book release this summer. I did two book releases this summer. I did a book signing and a book release last summer, last year. So when I did my first book signing, what I'm saying, I did a workshop with it that I did physical and digital real estate. I had some real estate agents up there talking, and I was talking about then I got up there, it was my time to talk about my book and my intellectual properties. So when I was up there speaking, I had somebody came into the room, and it was my father. So I haven't seen my father in probably over 20 years. But he came walking through that door, and I'm in a point in my healing journey to where like I have no malice towards my father at all. I was actually thinking, I was just actually just talking about how if I see my father, that I would tell him that I loved him, and I just would want to move forward. I just had a conversation with one of my good brothers to have it, and I released that anger and that rage and being disgruntled with my father, and I just wanted to have a relationship with him and talk to him. And I remember having that in my heart, and my heart chakra was open, and me doing the inner work that I've been doing within supreme well-being and within just life, gaining emotional IQ, gaining a whole different understanding of self, and understanding my whole identity shift is for a reason. And the reason why I'm transforming is beyond what I can clarify right now in my vision, but I do trust my intuition, and I trust the process, and I trust it because it's becoming clearer and clearer every day. We walked through the door, and I had to go to the bathroom. I broke down a little bit because I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like this is wild. I never would expect like my father would be here. And by way of me being of displaying my authorship, brought us back together. And I just looked him in his eyes and I said, hey, that I love you, and I just want to move forward. I don't care about nothing that happened in the past. Now, that's what I'm talking about with letting go of the ego, letting go of the anger, letting go of the past. Past, past depression. present, anxiety, new future, peace. And this is what we're doing. We're creating a new future for ourselves. Living, living in the end. Live in the end result of what you see yourself. But first, you must come up with the mental image as you see yourself. I am fill in the blank. Peace and wellness to the family.